Good afternoon, everyone. BC Richfield here, coming to you live from London. It has just gone 1 p.m. UTC. Welcome to Congress 2022, day number 2. I am super excited this morning because we've got an absolute legend to open the show for us in Dusty BC. I'm sure a lot of you already know Dusty, but if you don't, you're going to get to know a little bit more about him, how he views the markets, what his current thoughts are, and how he looks at trading. So, before we get on with this absolutely jam-packed session of Alpha, let's have a very quick word with our sponsors.
Milk Metaverse is a metaverse platform for the media industry that will bridge the gap between the content producers and the audience. Mediaverse from Milk Platform will be a combination of virtual reality, blockchain technology, and artificial intelligence. Visit the website milk.global.
There we go. So we are back. So hey everyone, how are we doing? Big shout out to everybody that's making it live on the stream today, and for all of you that are going to be watching this on recording. So, like I said, we've got a real legend, a guy that I've got a hell of a lot of time for as well. So let's welcome on Dusty BC. Hey Dusty, how you doing, buddy?
Hey Reese, how you been? Doing very well. Mediocre. Feeling a little bit of a cold, but I had to make some time for the show. Love you guys, so I had to come on.
Man, what a legend. So Dusty has been traveling around the world lately. He's come back. He really wanted to make a lot of time for this show. So he's come back. He's obviously got a little bit of man flu on his way as well. So a big shout out to the guy for making all of the effort to come along and join us today. So, Dusty, I don't want to waste any of your valuable time or our viewers. So I just want to get into really a little bit about you. Can you introduce yourself to our viewers today? Let us know a little bit about you and your background.
Sure. So the easy introduction, I guess, is I'm Dusty BC. I have a crypto YouTube channel. Actually, it's a whole crypto media group. There's a couple of different YouTube channels that do different things, but the main one is the Dusty BC Crypto News. Cover crypto news every single day. And then there's a couple of side pieces. Like we have a trading channel, which a couple other people run basically. There's a crypto basic channel, which is whiteboard animation type of stuff. And then there's the VC, which we basically use to invest in new crypto projects. And I'd say that that's our main thing in whenever the market's doing well, investing in new crypto companies or crypto tokens, basically. But I think we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. As trading and buying new things, they have some commonality, but they're still vastly different. Need some vastly different insights. But I'd say that that's something a lot of people still don't understand. But when I recently had an interview, that was like my number one thing in terms of profitability. You know, investing in these upcoming things and be willing to take that risk. But I think we're going to dive into that later. But that's a small little introduction.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That's brilliant. And you know what? It actually touches on a really important point and something that we get asked quite a lot, which is a lot of people, obviously, especially in bull markets, get into crypto in the idea that they're a trader, right? But actually, they're much more an investor. You know, most people getting in, buying these tokens, buying newly emerging projects. So, as you said, we're going to dive into that a little bit later because I'm really interested to see how someone like yourself balancing the different sides of the business, the VC side, the investment side. I know you're someone that's got an eye for trading as well. So, you know, balancing that all together and the news side, you know, it's really interesting. And obviously, quite often companies either certainly start or develop out one particular niche, you know, so news or investing, you know, all the VC side, but you really cover a broad spectrum. You do incredibly well, not to mention obviously all of your video content, right? Your YouTube channel, which is absolutely massive and super informative. You know, I was lucky to be around Dusty when he was making some pretty insane XRP calls when we were over at the Finance Con in Paris. In fact, so much I thought he'd been endorsed by XRP, but it turns out he was just right fundamentally. So he's definitely got loads of alpha for us. So, how did you get into the crypto space, Dusty? What was your journey?
Yeah, so that's also an interesting one. I've actually been in the crypto space for 9 years, but that's mostly because when I was 13, my mom did not allow me to have a PayPal. And so me and my friends started kind of trying to figure out how to pay for stuff and how to do things. But that's honestly not my real big intro. Because if you think about it, I'm 13 years old. How much money do I really have? Not that much. And then in 2016, things started really popping off for me because I won a crypto giveaway. And that's when I started the channel. That's when I started talking about that giveaway that I won. That's when I started talking about basically my journey with a little bit of money that I won, which I can't remember. I think it was 0.01 Bitcoin. Maybe it was zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, something like that. And then I basically started to look at what type of content the guy that gave it to me was making, started kind of copying that. And after a little while, because that was pretty slow to pick up, I started talking more about, okay, I just bought into this ICO, I bought into this platform, bought into the, and then it started to kind of, as ICOs then declined over the next year and a half or so, started talking more about the news from all the coins that I bought, and that transitioned logically into crypto news in general, just talk about everything. That's it.
So how long ago was it that you started that channel then? The YouTube channel, because it's been around for a fair while. I mean, did it evolve into what it is now, or did it kind of was always started with that purpose?
You mean the DustDBC crypto channel? You mean? Like
Yeah.
No, it was actually a gaming type of channel before that. For
Was it?
a good couple years, good 7 years or so, I think.
Awesome. Is that a space that you look at a lot? Is it, Dusty? Is that something? Was it because you were young and you're into your gaming, or is that a space that you've got kind of a general or maybe a deeper interest in, especially speaking from sort of a VC perspective?
You mean if we're looking into GameFi type of stuff, into gaming crypto correlation? Yeah, we invest.
Absolutely.
I think the most common thing we invest in is gaming, so GameFi. That's mostly because that's the biggest supply, though. I mean, you have a lot of new projects that are pretty interesting. Just to name one, for example. No, let's not name one, just to be sure. Actually, I'll not name one. There are a ton,
Maybe at the end, maybe we fight in some kind of competition or something.
yeah, there's a ton of different projects that have like a really innovative idea. Whereas the games, they're often pretty similar. They often pitch to you the exact same thing with, okay, well, hope we're good in that department. I saw that.
All good. All good.
Yeah. They often have a pretty similar pitch with, oh, we want to do this, oh, we want to do that. And then it's like, okay, you want Unreal Engine 5. Okay, you have this new idea with a major studio that has a Blizzard employee. Okay, you're going to launch the game in 2 years from now. Okay. So it's pretty similar all, which is why it's kind of still. But in a big bull market, well, some of those guys are going to pop off. And you already know the game that does do it well is going to be an easy, I'd say, 1,000x opportunity. So in theory, you can try 1,000 times. And if that one pops off, basically, well, let's say 900 fail. But out of that 100 that will do okay, one is going to be 1,000x. And then let's say 30 of them are going to be 100x. You'll still make a very good return on your investment. And with gaming, it's the easiest to predict. But as a VC, basically what you're doing anyway is, in my own opinion, you're throwing money in a very early stage. And very often you're going to be wrong. There are some companies I know that basically have a win rate of less than 30%. Some of them might even have lower than 10%. But at the end of the day, if you're 100xing on average over the next 3 years or so, it doesn't really matter how wrong you are, because you can be wrong, let's say 100 times to make up for that one right. And with gaming, it's just a lot of freaking supply. There's a lot of companies that come up to us with games, and we all know it's still a numbers game. Some of them will do really well, and so you just look at the backers, and I'm not sure if there's going to be a separate section in just a second for it as to how we look at these investments, but you have to look at the backers, you have to look at a lot of different things. But to come back on your question, is gaming then our big thing? No, we don't cover gaming that much, but that's also because I think it's vastly different audiences. I think the gaming audience is on average a little bit younger, but in terms of crypto gaming, I think it will do well in due course. I think will do well. So we are looking into it. We are investing into it. But coverage, not as much as, well, what am I supposed to show? I met up with Illuvium a couple of days ago. Very big crypto game in the making. But yeah, a lot of those guys are still making their stuff. James has, James, a friend of ours, Crypto Guru. He has a project called Magicraft. Looks beautiful. But again, it's not as if I can showcase a lot of Web3 connections from the get-go. It's more of, I can show either a game and gameplay, or we could talk really about the crypto side of things, but then it's not so much to do with the game itself yet. I think that will come further on.
So, yeah, I find the gaming space really interesting. Obviously, it's not really my speciality. I do invest in projects and stuff. My skill, or if you like, what I do is day trading, right? So different assets, I have a broad market understanding of different assets, different handles, but I'm trading the charts, right? Now, what I find really interesting about the gaming space, and especially when we were in Paris speaking to some people like Max Jossen, who we've got coming on as well, and like Amir Peled, who's coming on with CryptoMon, it was a real eye-opener for me, just kind of understanding the space as someone that comes from a business background and an investment background before I got into the crypto space. I always find it quite interesting, especially in bull markets. You're speaking to these people that are investing in these companies, and with a business head on, you want to understand that business space, right? You want to say to yourself, like, okay, well, where's the monetization coming from? There's a really, really high fail rate for these games, and brilliant games in terms of visually, how they're played, how they come across, but they struggle to make that connection with monetization. So it's interesting hearing you kind of say that kind of things, because looking at it from a VC perspective, I suppose they're quite appealing projects just because of the chance that the ones that do go can go really, really big, right? So
Yeah.
I know that you could say that with a lot of the crypto space, right? So before we kind of go into that real like back end look, because I'd love to know your opinion on that, what you're looking for in terms of the teams, the people, the project, the monetization. What would you say that your for a real British kind of term here, what would you say your bread and butter is then as the VC firm? What is it that you guys kind of tend to go after the most, or what is it that you guys have an area, if you had to call it a specialty?
What is our specialty? Well, to indeed make it simple, our specialty in terms of the amount of investments we've placed is surely going to be GameFi. It's by far the most that we've bought into. But I think what you meant was, what do we actually do? What do we look at? And then what is our operation looking like, you mean?
Yeah, so really, it's kind of, I know you have like a broad area, right? But quite often you'll have VCs, hedge funds will have a little bit of a niche aspect to what they go after, right? Whether that is, like you say, the gaming DeFi space. That was more the question. Yeah.
Sure. So then we have a primary focus on everything crypto related. There's only been, I think, 3 deals outside of crypto altogether as the VC, because it's mostly a crypto VC. That's the goal. That's what it's about to be. However, in that sense, there's not a particular focus on the niche. I'd say crypto is pretty broad. And that's also because we have the connections, I think, for nearly everything that we come across. And I mean, at the end of the day, if we think it's going to do well, it's not, it's outside of our niche, we can't help. No, we probably will be able to fix something. We'll probably be able to manage. And if we currently don't know how to do it, we'll figure it out. In the sense that we'll always be able to make something work if we see the potential. And so in terms of bread and butter, no, crypto is a big niche, but it's kind of small still, though. I mean, honestly, take a look at how many projects have launched over the last couple of years. It's a lot, but then if you compare it to, how many freaking traditional companies, for example, has launched, well, it's a really, really big 1,000x difference if you get my drift. It's like if I were to try traditional startups, I'd be here sitting all day hating myself. With crypto, honestly, and there's a really big difference as well with the VC that we are. In the bull market, a lot of it has to do with what type of supply can you get, because you're looking for the best deals. There's quite a lot of them coming up to you, but they're kind of shitty. And in a bear market like right now, we're not investing as much. We're not investing much at all. But now it's like, okay, which ones do we really want to take? Which ones do we think will really do well? And so again, we're not really specifying the niche or anything. We're just looking at what do we think will do well based on a couple of factors that I think we should discuss in a bit.
Definitely. Well, actually, it kind of broadly kind of leads us into another point, which is, as traders, especially as an investor, right? You're looking at the different bull market, bear market. Obviously, there's a very different playbook for both. As someone that kind of sees this from the news side of it, as someone that also sees it as a trader, because, I've seen you on the charts as well. I saw you peeking at some charts in London and stuff, right? So, you know that side intimately, right? You know the investment side. If I was speaking to devs right now, if I'm speaking to people in the crypto space, a lot of them will tell you that. And we agree that this is the time to build, right? To double down on your learning, on your understanding, your knowledge. Even if you're a chart trader like me, right? A lot of people really want to stay clear of bear markets. But, as a trader, it's your job to make money both ways in the market, right? But bear markets seem to, I don't know, I think maybe crypto more so, because a lot of people in the space are people that have belief in the projects, right? And therefore they don't want to see the projects go down, right? It leads them to holding on a bit too long, like trading while they're happy to trade or invest as things are going up. What are you guys looking at? What are you doing right now in this bear market? Are you just kind of saying, okay, look, maybe there's not as many opportunities around, or we're kind of doubling down on just really focusing on a select few that we think are going to make a really big difference?
Yeah, I have a beautiful quote for that. And that is actually when I was asked a little bit ago what the difference was between investing or basically covering stuff as a crypto YouTube channel versus a VC, is on the YouTube channel, and for those investments and for the coverage, you're basically looking at the trend of today. So you're looking at, okay, what's really trending, what's really going on, and what can I cover about it? What do people need to know? And as a VC, you're basically investing now for the trend of tomorrow, for the trend of next week, next year, and stuff along those lines. So in terms of what we're looking at, well, you're thinking in terms of the games. Okay, a lot of these games are going to launch in 1.5, 2 years. Which ones at that point then are going to really still be on top of the game? Because in the next 1.5 years, a lot of new projects will launch with an even better idea, with an even better roadmap, and potentially even better backers. But then you also got to think about, okay, how much money do I want to allocate now, knowing that these projects will not launch for either the next 6 months or will launch and not do that well? You have to kind of look at the return on investments that you expect based upon the partners that they've chosen. And for that reason, most investments kind of fall flat in a market like this. Maybe, I think most VCs I speak to, they do, let's say, 4 deals or so a month or something along those lines, as it's just not worth the wait. You're going to have to wait on your money. And even then, it's not a guaranteed return, obviously. So you're looking for the best of the best. And even then, you're still being really, really scrungy. As well, the guys that are looking for your money in a market like this, very often they're doing pretty bad, as we've seen with Genesis, FTX, all those guys. Obviously, a little bit different, but if they're looking for your money right now, chances are it's not that good of a project or not that well thought out. As the bigger guys, they're most likely just chilling right now, building on the money that they've already raised before, or maybe that's just because we're not big a VC enough. Where, for example, an A16Z or some of those guys, even though those do in principle, quite a couple of different things. I'd say the bigger the VC, the more often they're just there to give you money rather than help you incubate or help you with acceleration or whatever. But very often, I think those guys head to those bigger firms because they're just needing money to build their sort of product. And then when you get closer in a better bull market, they start advancing the other stuff, so to speak. But to get back to the point, yeah, it's just really, really slow. We're not necessarily focusing on anything, just waiting for the right deal. We just had, I think, 2 this month in the month of November. In the month of October, I think we also had 3 or something like that. And so most likely going to set on with that momentum until things get better. Because we're just, it's just honestly a logical look. Hey, do you think this is really going to pop off? Well, you never know, but probably it would do really well, even in a bear market. Okay, let's go for it. Do you think it's going to not pop off? Do you think it's going to fail? Yeah, probably. Well, then it's still a question of, okay, do you think over a longer time it will do well? Most of the time, it's I don't know. If you're not sure, then very often it's not worth the risk, depending on what exactly they already have built, what backers they have, and so forth and so on. So it's a lot of variables. And in terms of trading connection, it's really true what you're saying. You have to be really powerful to make it work in a bear and bull market. But right now, I'd say that the VC game is a lot worse in a bear market because, as I said just now, there's a lot of projects that are still looking for money, that are just looking for money to look for money to build potentially something that they have no idea of. It's just looking for money. A lot of it is metaverse. A lot of it is gaming that really is just a far-fetched idea. So it's like waving through the weeds of all this garbage. It really is that way in the bear market. In a bull market, there was a lot more good, and they were a lot further, and it was a lot harder to be able to put your money inside of it. So there's
yeah, I was going to say, isn't that an aspect of it as well? So you've got like the difficulty, right, of investing in the bull market. You see these projects as they start to spike, and then you want to get your investment in there. Maybe it's a bit hard to get that investment to the table. Like you said, you mentioned like Andreessen Horowitz, people like that, and the big players coming into it. I always wondered from that side, and I read the Horowitz's book actually. It's a really, really interesting, really good book talking about their transition with the firm. And it was interesting hearing him speak about that because this was pre them being into crypto. Right? This was quite a long time ago, and obviously with VCs and stuff like that in traditional markets, you get in times of prosperity, the market obviously has a lot of good opportunities, but it brings different challenges to like a bear market type scenario, right? Where there's an argument that there's more opportunities, but there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of companies going for funding. You end up swamped with the opportunities you need to sift through. So there's probably some gems in there, right? But you're having to allocate a lot of resources to go through them and find those opportunities. But I suppose if you do find them, like you say, you do your due diligence, you understand the timeline that you're investing on, then I suppose, the opportunities are there. But can you find them? I suppose that's kind of one of the main challenges. And Dusty, so the sort of YouTube side of it, because there's I've seen the YouTube stuff. It's really, really interesting. You're obviously a really charismatic guy. You've got a great understanding and knowledge of the tokens or any of the projects that you're researching, right? So you carry yourself across well. But man, you get some viewers. You get some serious viewers. It's yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, what was it that really attracted you to doing that? Before we get into the back end stuff, just quickly, I'm interested in it because it's, for me, for example, I got thrown into this space. I was a trader, bits and pieces like that. I come from a background in business. I maybe did a little bit of public speaking, but only for companies. Like our companies went for investment and stuff. We did it the hard way back in the day, trudging around all the different investment vehicles and incubators in London. But,
Sure.
it wasn't like a natural transition for me to go on and start doing things on YouTube. Some people have just got that that natural knack for it. You seem like you've got that. Did that come from your early days of messing about with gaming on YouTube and that, do you think?
I think so, yeah. Because I don't know. I think it was just really logical for me that the moment I won the giveaway, that was actually when some other game I was doing pretty well on YouTube. Then I was thinking, you know what? Let me just talk about it. It's like the most logical thing because I've been doing it since I was 10. So it's basically all I knew. I did go to university and stuff. I did study for a bit. Didn't finish that, but it was a logical it was a logical transition.
Makes two of us.
Then again, I did study data science and econometrics. It was from that perspective, what I went into there for was to kind of be able to predict the stock market or so, my ignorant self. What I was kind of thinking, going into it. Didn't really need that though. Still don't really need that at all. But yeah, so it was logical. Yeah, for sure. It was just a logical decision. This is what I like to do. I like to talk in that sense. Sometimes.
Sometimes. But it's something, whenever you speak to you about something, right, you're always, if you've got interest in it, which you do, I think you're one of the most just energetic and engaging people that you could wish to speak to about a subject, right? You really bring your all in it. You can tell how invested you are in it because it piques your interest, right? Obviously, if you're talking to you about something you're not interested in, like if I message you separately, then it's like a desert, right? But it's you've got this amazing interest for it. Is it the passion for the investing side? Is it the passion for the space that you love so much, the possibilities, the solutions that it provides? Or is it just the excitement of something that's so new and the fact that, I don't really like using this term, but the fact that we are really early in a space that's developing and, we weren't there for the .com, or I end up being a bubble as most of these things. We weren't there for, the original internet, bits and pieces like that. But, this whole Web3 has got people really excited. Crypto before it had this it felt like it was this gateway for the younger generation and traditional finance. How like when I was in school, similar to you, lots of people wanted to grow up to be brokers or to get into finance, but no one actually knew what they did. They just saw them on the TV wearing the suits and throw money around and stuff, right? And that became the kind of culture where, they always seemed a little bit unattainable maybe for most people, or it felt like you had to go through this kind of very systematic route to do it. Where crypto, all of a sudden you've got kids that have got gaming knowledge or kids that understand code and space, turning themselves into, millionaires overnight. And it's hard to ignore that kind of impact, right? Now, I know a lot of it is a lot of it can be overexerted, a lot of it can be overshown, but there's no doubt there's an exciting space. So is it that gets you? Is it the space itself? Or is it just because... Let me think about phrasing this better, right? Because what I find really interesting is you've obviously got a knack and a passion for business, hence the VC side of the firm. You love the news and the fundamentals to understand and to research these projects, and you've got a knowledge of trading, right? Now, they're quite diverse from one another in terms of the areas. So I wonder if you're looking at this more with your business head on, or more with your investment head from someone that's passionate about a space and what it's doing.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a really broad question. You're asking me basically what am I?
It is. You can give a big broad answer if you want.
Yeah, but it's a pretty diverse answer as well. So is it a business? I think I sometimes fail to see it as one. I think there could have been a lot of moves I could have taken to actually progress myself a lot further. Even though some people sometimes have come up to me in the past, even some of the people I hold pretty dear, maybe not anymore as much, that I did basically think there was more of a business endeavor than it was, as there's a lot more ways to make more money, I'd say, that I've not chosen because it would go against I'm not sure if it's morals or just the way that I like to do things. And to kind of rephrase that, I think it's just all of what do I think is most fun, what I like the most. At the end of the day, it's not that much a money game anymore. If you ask me maybe 6 years ago, it would be a lot more for money than now. But I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that I just have the passion for seeing the numbers go up. I think indeed what you just said is very much true. We're very early, I personally think, in the space, in the sense that anything that's been built right now, anything you're able to invest into, potentially might get a really, really huge share of the bigger pie. And that's, again, not about the money. It's more about the being involved in that, which is I think in a strange way, nice knowing that. Yeah, and I think that is mostly what it's for. So is it business oriented? I wouldn't say that. I'd say a lot of the structure is not that well thought out. I think that would change though, as I noticed now over the last year, there's too much to do for one man. There's too much to do for a couple people. So you have to really make it a business, which is, I guess, also nice because you can make better stuff. But I would say if I was able to do everything myself and just keep it chill and, just make a lot less money, but just be chill, I would probably do it. But that would also deteriorate, not be able to impact as many people as much, not being able to grow as much, not being able to see the impact as much, basically. So then I have to choose the opposite side, so to speak. So
and change the dynamic, right? I suppose, no, it's a really good answer. It's one that I was kind of curious about because there's a very different dynamic when you create something through passion and then that takes off and then you monetize it in a different way. You have to grow it in a different way. You have to support it in a different way, right? So
I should quickly add here. For example, I've had this YouTube channel for, as I said, the crypto side for I think 6 years or so. Now, have I really sold much from YouTube and so on? Has it really made a lot of money? It's a good question, to be honest. I mean, there are things which have made money, but if you look at it, I've never sold a course, which could have done really well over the last 6 years. I've got 10, I think, maybe let's say in total with all deleted stuff, let's say it's 60 million views or so. You could have probably done a lot of sales. I've never done that. Now, sometimes I'm thinking maybe I should get a course going because, well, many people ask me, one of my most common DMs is, okay, so how do I start with crypto now? I'm thinking, well, should have better had a course in. And the reason you need a course, like rather than just a video series about it, is because I've made video series about it many times. People don't watch it, people don't know where to find it. And the moment you pay for a course, I personally think as well, you're inclined to just be like, okay, I bought this now, I'm going to fix it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But then I'm on the other side thinking, I don't want to charge people for a course. So then I'm on both sides of that equation. I'm like, I don't like charging people for a course, but I do know that if I were to buy a course, I'd do it way better than if I got a course for free. But then to get back on it, is it then really a good business endeavor? No, I should have just made a course 6 years ago. Would have most likely had thousands in sales. Would have most likely done really well. Would have been an extra couple $1 million, I think, over the next couple of years. I think so, if I played the cards well. Now, can I still change that? Obviously, yes. And I'm still thinking about making a course. But then, yeah, was it really, to answer the business question, no, I didn't make the best business choice in that sense. But then it's more of, as I said as well to you, I think personally I told you this as well. I like to be able to do everything on my own tempo, on my own chill vibes. There's nobody rushing me. There's nobody saying, hey, you have to do this, you have to do that. If I don't want to make a video today, I'm not going to make a video today. And I want to keep that freedom. I don't want to be in one country stuck. I don't want to be in one time stuck or anything like that. I just want to have all freedom. There can be responsibilities like, hey, you need to have a call in 6 hours. You need to have 4 calls today. You need to research this project. Sure. But I don't want something locking me up. You have to do this today. You have to do that. If I want to reschedule the call, I want to be able to reschedule it. If I lose one deal, it's not a big problem. We'll get another one, so to speak.
No, it's very candid of you. It's very honest of you as well. I think, for me, I think you see a lot of people create something really good or something exceptional because they have a passion in it, and they feel this kind of need to then change the culture and the dynamic of that business and kind of what made it what it is, because they feel like it should be packaged in a certain way, it should be delivered in a certain way. And actually, the Nest included in this, a lot of companies, yourself included as well, that are grown through the passion of the people that build them. And really that's what attracts the people that follow you, right? So the argument is, with the course side of things, is you can offer good value, right? You know what's made you successful. So there's value in what you'd be selling to people. I agree with you 100% that I think people take ownership of something more when they pay for it, right? Because they feel, hang on, I've got something I pay for, I need to do this, right? So I do like that. One thing that really resonates with me with everything that you talk about, which is, first of all, the fact that you know you're comfortable with yourself, what you want to do, how you want your life to run. Like you said, you don't want to be like feel like you're getting pulled from pillar to post, because if you feel like that, you could go and work for a top consultancy firm, right, and just be on that treadmill and earning the money that you want to earn. But it's your users, right? You're clearly very aware of the people that follow you, the type of people they are, what you want to offer them. And that seems to be paramount as well, right? Because like you said, you know, your users, the people that follow you, you go back to the last bull run, if you were selling a course, it would have been insane. If you'd been thinking from a purely monetizing perspective, you would have not been thinking about delivering value outside of a course, but thinking about getting a course together so that you can sell to all those people that are coming on, right? Now, I always say this, and I don't know where I picked it up from. It's too smart for me to come up with it. But it's that money is a byproduct of success, right? And I do...
Honest of you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Don't jump to my defense or anything. But it's, you know, I think that is true, right? I do think that that's true. I think the money is a byproduct of success. I think a lot of people in trading will come to you and be like, you know, what's your P&L? How much money can I earn trading? All these things. And really, they're asking the wrong questions and tying it more to what I do rather than investing as such. But investing is the same vehicle, really, is that, you know, it's not, if you're starting to look at the money at the end of it as your goal, you're going to struggle, right? Because you either need to have passion for something, you need to have knowledge about something. If you don't have that kind of impetus, I think it's very, very hard to learn something well enough to offer value. And I know we're in a space where, you know, it's torn apart by scam artists and, you know, fraudsters and stuff like that. Traditional finance was the same back in the day. I think it's what makes this space so much more in need of good, transparent people that are willing to help others, right? You know, like if you had a course, I'd definitely be pestering you for a free referral link, you know. But no, I'm joking. Of course, I'd pay for it. It would be really interesting, right? You know, for me, someone that's more on the trading rather than the investing side, to get inside the mind of someone like you and what you do. It's a very unique look on the market, isn't it? It's not just fundamentals. You're not just trading news. You understand charts. You understand market dynamics. You understand the business side of it from a VC, from an investor's perspective. I think it's quite an interesting niche in itself, even though, like you said, it's kind of a broad niche, you know, but you've kind of made it your own, which is, it's awesome. There's no question coming off that. Just a statement.
I should actually interject again. So, for all of the people that have watched my channel for a long time, I don't think there's going to be many in here, but they would know.
New audience, you see?
Yeah. I have a lot of phones. I have so many phones you would not be able to tell. I think I have at least now maybe 20-something iPhones.
So hang on, 20 iPhones. What are you doing with 20 iPhones?
Yeah, so this is very important. When we're talking about a course, right? And again, I think when we're having a discussion like this, I'm going to be very open with you every single time because I have nothing to lose. I have literally nothing to lose, nothing to gain. I don't really mind. So, if we're talking about selling a course, I'd sell a crypto course, for example, at a number of, let's say, $100, purely because I'd be putting in effort and, well, need to pay something, right? So it could be either $30, $100. It's not really going to make too much difference, I personally think. You just have to choose a number. Maybe even $15 is fine. If you're doing a trading course, however, the amount of expertise needed, I think, is significantly higher. Same thing for the VC side. And the amount of people that buy it, well, if they only have $500 to their name, I personally don't think that buying a trading course worth so much money, you know, with so vast knowledge is the best. I'd say watch a little tutorial. However, if you're really looking to actually learn it as a new career option or anything like that, I think, sure, you should be thinking about investing a larger sum of money to learn this new vast skill. In the same sense that a freaking college education, well, they're teaching you quite a lot. You know, in Netherlands, for example, and other couple of countries, costs a couple $1,000, let's say $2,000 a year. But they're teaching you quite a lot of things. And it's valuable information from a professor that studied for you for a long time. Okay. Now, when it comes to the VC thing, it kind of coincides with why I have the phones. The VC thing is something that not a lot of people know. And the more people that you teach this, the less money you're going to make. Because it's not that difficult. It's all about the knowledge. I'd say the most important thing is your network in that sense. It's all about knowing the steps. And once you know the steps, I think most people could do it. It's not a really hard thing. You just need to know those steps, that set of steps. So I'd say there's people giving it out for free. Sure. If you go on internet, you'll find out how to be a VC. You'll find out how to have a family office. You'll find out how to start a new PE firm, to take over other companies, for example. You'll find everything out. But to have everything in one nice little slick overview with explicit examples of what we do, that you're not going to find. And this is the way that we do it is a lot more applicable for the normal person rather than a $7 billion major VC firm. It's so different. And there's not many tutorials for the small fry that's looking for these small deals with some very specific network. I digress. So the phones, that's a different story altogether, though. Because if you've
sold me on the VC thing, by the way. You've sold me on the VC thing just in that pitch. I expect a course in the next couple of weeks, by the way. After I see you convincing yourself. I saw the wheels ticking. So
no, I don't think that would be very nice because I think most people would fail because there's a lot of effort involved. But it's very simple. It's just a lot of effort and a lot of connecting. That a lot of people don't like to do. I've spoken with so many people, and one of the worst things they do is go to a conference and freaking speak to nobody. Sit there, enjoy the little drink or something in a little corner. Oh, watch a little show. Oh, this guy's going to speak. Who cares? Don't listen to that guy speak. Talk to people. Most important thing in the world is who you know, I'd say, for getting things done, that is.
That's alpha, by the way. Can we get that? Can we get that quote up there from Dusty? The biggest thing is knowing people. It is networking, right? It's the same in traditional as it is for anything. Like if I wasn't out with the Bird Nest in Paris for BCon, for Blockchain Week, I'd never got to meet you. We've got JJ Cycles coming on next. They gave me the introduction to that guy, absolute legend. Other people in the space, right? And actually, there's people we're connected with from Paris, from London, that we didn't know, that had no real kind of into the industry other than the fact that they came up and they were networking with everyone, introducing themselves, who they are, what they do. They found their fit, they found their people. And then from then all of a sudden you're connected with bigger people who can then introduce you to other people, right? And maybe more so with crypto and technology, you can find a bit more of an introvert space sometimes. But I think, telling that to people, go out to these events. Don't just be there for the freebies, right? To get the water bottles or the hats or whatever, blah, blah.
Your little T-shirt, your little sweater. Who gives a crap?
Man, exactly.
They're giving that away to you because, it's free marketing. Well, not free, but almost free marketing. If you're wearing that shirt, just wear it because it's comfortable, not because, it looks cool. What? And the same thing goes for a lot of freaking designer things, by the way. But that's a different story. Let me not get distracted, though.
The phones. Sorry, yeah. So it's not just the ladies that gives you 50 phones, no?
Exactly. It is actually a pretty big part of it. Not gonna lie. You're laughing now. No, you're joking, but I'm not joking at all. Ladies are a big part of why I have these phones, but that's a story for a different day. Now, so the course selling, a lot of the pricing has to do as well with what is the data that you're giving out. What is it worth? With what I've done in the past is I started up a YouTube channel that was mostly on my basically second business or my main business at the time, which has changed to my second business, which is scaling Instagram accounts and just scaling basically media companies. Now, you have to understand, I could have used all that power because I have so many followers you wouldn't even know. If I told you, you would be pretty scared. On all these different niches on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. But it would bring pretty shitty followers, I'd say. However, I have so many documents here. I don't have them with me now because it's locked up somewhere. Of sheets of thinking out how to structure things the best. And I think nobody in the world has done it the way that I've done it. I honestly think the what I've written down is worth, I think, at least $10 million, maybe $100 million. But it's $1 billion idea. Because I know it would work and I know it will be worth $1 billion company not too long from now, I think. Honestly, right? My own thoughts. Because I see the numbers, I can understand everything about it. Like a BuzzFeed type of endeavor. It's not that hard. But then, if you got to think about it, let's say I want to teach people this. What should I charge them for it, though? And why would I teach people, right? You want to teach people these fundamentals because you want to change their life. And I know anybody with a phone can do what I'm doing and can earn, let's say, maybe $10,000 a day, $20,000 a day. It's not that hard. It will take a lot of effort. It will take multiple, maybe a year of 16 hours a day grinding, and then at that point, maybe 10 phones. Hard work and smart work, but it's possible. And you can teach people. But then the more people I teach this, the less money you'll make yourself because it's going to be saturated. So how much then should you charge? What's an accurate number? Let's say you're doing $10,000 a day and you can teach people how to make this. How much then should you charge? Should it be $1,000 for a course? Should it be $10,000 for a course? Well,
or more, you would think, right? Higher ticket item, higher ticket reserve, higher ticket item.
But then if you're going to teach this to somebody that has a $10 million net worth, they're going to have to execute this, but they're going to have to allocate it to people, which means they're going to have to teach those guys. But then if they can do it themselves, they can, just not use the big guy. It's like, well, so who do you cater to? Who's the audience? You want to help the small fry. If the guy already has $10 million, why would you teach him to make his business bigger? Who cares about that? You want to help the small guy, but he can't afford your knowledge because it's going to saturate the market if you give it away for free or anything like that. So that's why I stopped the channel, because I'm thinking, man, if I teach this to everybody, I'd love to, really, I would. But there's not a really good return where it would be worth it for everybody unless you just teach it to a couple of people. So then all I could do maybe is take on, let's say, for example, 15 students at a time or so. But that's been keeping me up with the course thing as well, whereas I think, well, higher ticket courses are not a bad thing. It's just it needs to be for the appropriate reason, I say.
And for the right demographic, the right fit. Like you say, it's no good having a 100 grand or a 50 grand or a 10 grand course if the people you want to help or the people you want to target are, their disposable income is a few $100 a month, right?
Exactly. Or maybe even minus, they don't have disposable income. They're like, scrap it together, there's $7 for my course. I mean, I'd prefer to help them, but then you can only help a couple. So it's really difficult.
It's a tricky one. So I suppose one question off the back of that, just purely because it's really interesting, is you've got this, and I don't doubt you for a second, mate. I really don't. I think you probably have got a multi-billion-dollar idea sitting there in your drawers all written out. It just doesn't surprise me at all. But I mean, I suppose the other question comes back to why is, and again, I think this links back to you, the person you are, the way that you see the markets, people. Why isn't that your be-all and end-all focus right now, to get that stuff down and just, implement that stuff yourself, right?
What do you mean?
You obviously... So like you said, the information you got, I know you're doing what you're doing, right? But like you said, you've got all these other ideas in terms of scaling, all these followers, everything else you can do with that. You spend a lot of time giving really, really good information, really good alpha to people, free of charge, through your channel, right? Like you say, YouTube's not going to make you a lot of money. You've got this massive golden ticket item sitting there. Like if you were that money hungry, if that was your motivation, wouldn't you just be putting everything of yourself into just making that explode now? Forgetting the course side of it, but implementing the stuff that you're structuring on there and then really looking at it from a course side. If money was your motivation, and the point I'm making is that I don't think it is, I think it's a byproduct of your interest and what you do and your hard work. But you could maybe put a corporate slide onto that. You go and achieve any kind of figures like that. If you couldn't rock into the boutique hedge funds and stuff like that and start doing team training in there and charging them consultancy money a day to go in and kind of rip these firms, they'll make ripples in the space and there'll be less money to have. But, you'd be killing on your front, you'd be making your money, and you could charge pretty insane money going into the corporate spaces as well. But again, I don't, it's not really the dynamic for Dusty, is it? You want that lifestyle, you want that balance, right? You want that freedom.
I think things through, and I act on whenever I think it's the best choice. So now to say, oh, I won't do that, or I think that's a stupid idea, I can't say. I just say, no idea that I've thought out, that's actually thought out, is not being implemented. If I think it through, it's going to get done, However, the only question is the extent of it. And for example, one thing I'm thinking through right now is the best way to get people into crypto that are already in my audience. And I'm thinking personally right now, the best way is a course. So I think that's going to come. But I'm going to partner up with some guys who know how to do coursing properly to make sure that it's not just me. Hello, everybody. No, I want it to be really, really proper. And it can just be a smart decision on how to price it accurately so the most amount of people will actually join it as well. It's just something I'm thinking about right now. But that will get done, though. I'm honestly thinking it's the best way to go.
Nice, man. I mean, I would be really, really excited to see that course. And obviously, if you ever wanted to consult or speak with anyone, I'm sure there's some people around the nest that would be happy to help you with Burb as well, of course. And obviously, I'm a lot less used to you than Burb. But I mean, obviously I would help. I would bring you some tea or something.
You're a lot better at trading than I am, I think. Because when I saw you sitting in when was it now? I think England or so. And I see that photo, I'm like, nah, this ain't me, for example. And I wouldn't probably sell that course unless I use one of my traders, for example, to really explain everything, which is also possible. But I would only talk about things that
it's the investing side,
Yeah. What I specialize in, surely, is making money make money through investing instead of trading. I'd surely say, it's a lot better.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, look, I know... I mean, I could go on talking to you forever. I could. But I think what we'd want to do is, it would be really cool to wrap this up by leaving the viewers and everyone that's going to watch this later on with just a little bit of advice from you, maybe a tip or something, what you would advise people that are getting into the space now, maybe people that have been in the space for a little while, they may be feeling a little bit lost, henceforth the reason for Congress this year, trying to help people kind of get back on their feet a little bit. Now, to give it some perspective, I was asked the same question, and I said, look, if times like this are for building, they're for educating yourself, they're for preparing yourself, right? They're for broadening your horizons and your knowledge. What would you say to people in the space right now? What would your tip be?
There's a multitude of things in one. It all has to come down to your network is your net worth, in the sense that you should meet people, you should talk to as many people that are obviously in a niche that you'd like to grow in. I'd say personally that if you went to all the conferences over the last year, you went to at least, let's say, 15 of them, you could be a millionaire right now purely based upon the people that you've met. That is granted that you have some starting capital, because traveling takes a little bit of money. Being at those places takes a little bit of money. Going to buy your tickets takes a little bit of money. But that is with that idea in mind. However, that also allows you to do many other things. Starting a VC, it's not hard. It takes 5 seconds to start, press a button, boom, you have one. However, how do you get the deal flow? Starting a marketing agency is not hard. How do you get the deal flow? Knowing one person that already does this can help you just 1,000-fold. But finding out the right books, finding out the right places, it's just all a Google search away, to be honest. How to start things, get that knowledge, with that in the back of your head, go meet people. Ask them a question. They will know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. You'll figure out exactly what to do. And what do you want to do, though? That is something you have to decide for yourself. But then it comes back to this, I think what Carl always says, the law of attraction. Think in your head already what you want to become, basically. Think in your head what you want to have and all that stuff. And the rest will follow. If you ask me, let's say a decade ago, how could you make $100,000 a day? I'd look at you and think, I have no idea.
Crazy, yeah.
And now it's like, well, there's so many ways I can think of to make $100,000 a day. It's not actually that hard, between big brackets, because it's not, what is hard, right? What is hard?
Caveat, man. The big caveat.
Yeah, big caveat, but it's not actually that hard. There's so many different ways, but you have to find them through, I'd say, through digging, through searching, through looking. And these paths will reveal themselves to you in due course. But I would say the most important thing is just networking. And, again, put a little bit of urgency to it. Don't go sit around thinking, I'm going to do... I swear, whenever I go to a conference, people sit back too much. Talk to every single stand. And if you want to be really slick about it, tell them you have a marketing agency already. Tell them you do stuff already. Just say, man, I have a marketing agency. What's the name? ABC agency. Pick a freaking name. What do you guys do? You've watched a couple of videos about what a marketing agency does. Just tell them. Boom, you have your first client. Now all you have to do is find the other, side on where to place this marketing, for example. But you've got one. That's a little bit of bluffing involved. I wouldn't consider that lying. I would say that bluffing, because you're already going to build it. You just need to have a start. But that's even a possibility, for example. If you come up to people at a conference and say, I'm just learning, you're going to get nowhere. You need to have something. You need to be a little one step further. Somebody comes up to me and says, I'm learning. Okay. Have a nice one. If somebody says, hey, I'm building a marketing agency. Oh, okay. What's it about? Oh, okay, let's start talking. Another one, to not talk for 7 more minutes, is you can actually DM people. Know this. But if you say hi, or hello, the response rate is going to be 1%. If you say, hello, I have this idea, I'm doing this, here's how I can involve you, or whatever, you're going to have a response rate of, let's say, 30%. Many people will not respond, but some people will. And just one person responding might just be your ticket into a completely new space. There's actually been a couple of people who texted me, hey, I have a new idea to build this. Do you want to be a co-founder? Well, most of the times I say no, because it's garbage. People have stupid ideas. But sometimes people have a freaking, I look at it thinking, that is amazing, my brother. That is good. Well, all they needed was to send one little text message and potentially get all the funding secured, potentially. So forth and so on. So just try your luck to some degree, but connecting to people. Just connect.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing thing to leave our viewers with, to be honest. I think also as well, I think it's something that's not so synonymous with the space. I think, like you say, you go to these conferences, people are almost look like they're deliberately avoiding one another. Like you see the speakers busted out, which is fine, and that's great. You go and watch these people and get your knowledge, but introducing yourself to people, building that network is absolutely massive. So thank you so much, Dusty. You're an absolute legend for coming on. I know you've been traveling around everywhere. You made a lot of time for us today and for all the viewers, which I really appreciate. I have to ask you to close something out in 30 seconds or I'm going to get absolutely hung, drawn and quartered by our viewers, right?
What?
So can you just read this on the bottom of the screen and in 30 seconds, because we're getting a lot of messages about your phones.
Oh, okay. I'd love to know the reason Dusty has so many phones. It actually has to do with another business, which has to do with Instagram marketing, basically, or really media, just any media, really. It just has to do with marketing. But you need at some point, I'm not sure if it's that way still now, you needed, every phone could only handle, let's say, about 30 accounts or so. So you keep, after you make another 30, you need a new phone, and then you need another phone, and then you need another phone, and then you need another one. And then they tried Android for a little while. Or what's the name of this? It didn't work. So then we went to more iPhones, and more and more and more. Yes.
Brilliant. That, obviously, and the ladies. But we'll get Dusty back on separately to speak about the ladies, and we'll link that in with some kind of open band sticker. Like, in all seriousness, man, I really appreciate your time coming on. The viewers have got a hell of a lot of alpha out of this so far. Just want to wish you the best for the rest of the season. Obviously, have a fantastic Christmas and that, and really, really hope to get and catch you around the conferences early next year. And if you're back in London again, let's hang out and get the crew back out again, man.
Sure, buddy. I'll remember this. I got you.
Thanks, dude. Look, you're an absolute star. Thank you so much for coming on. What a legend, ladies and gentlemen, Dusty BC. Thank you, brother. We will catch up with you soon. Take care, man.
Thank you very much for having me, man. Thank you very much.
Bye, mate. Perfect. So what a show, guys. Just what absolute alpha. Please do make the time to watch things like this back, because there's so many little gems in there that you might have missed the first time around. I love Dusty's view of the markets. I love how he brings this kind of mindset of someone that's so passionate about the space, but just has this really amazing business acumen as well. So look, I'm going to leave you on that. We got some amazing shows coming up today. We're going to be back with you in about 9 minutes with the one and only JJ Cycles as well. So do stay tuned, and if you want that again, make sure that you're looking at the giveaway prizes, the codes that are in there as well, the goodies and the giveaways that are coming up soon. All right, guys, so I'm going to catch you again in about 9 minutes. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you soon.